Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Arrowhead Junction, a Cities Skylines collaboration project between Fresh Popcorn and Flux Trends and yours truly, Strict Toaster. What you're looking at right now on the screen is the result of a live stream I hosted just a few days before this episode comes out, and quite a few showed up. We've been doing mostly maintenance, and I'm just going to show you some highlights of that. In fact, many of these things that we built, we will have to come back and detail at some point in the future. But as you can see, we now have a train station in Lone with a bit of a tiny commercial area adjacent to it. There's also that tunnel that you saw a second ago. And then if we go all the way to Zamora, I added another cargo station to sort of decompress, that crazy traffic backup that we had at the rail yard. There's also another one of these freight stations in Lone that I didn't get a cinematic of because it's like super undetailed. But if you want to catch on that full live stream, I highlighted in Twitch, so hopefully it's not going to be deleted. I'm not going to upload it to YouTube because unfortunately during my recording, that was my intention, by the way. I wanted to upload this to YouTube, but I kind of messed up the recording in the sense of copyrighted music because I was playing some music in the background, and I thought I filtered that out, in the recording process, but I totally did not. So I can't upload that to YouTube. However, the link will be in the description to the Twitch live stream, and you're more than welcome to go check it out. I had a co-host, Beast Kugelhausen, who you may know from all these beautiful train assets that we have in our rail yard. So we talked a bit about everything. So yeah, if you're into that, you can just go check it out. I recommend it. But in this episode, we are going to be working on multiple things, actually. We're going to be sort of filling the gaps in, or at least around Arrowhead Village. As you can see, I'm starting out with a bit of a commercial strip, similar to the one I did in Lone, adjacent to the station. And just wanted to, plop down a few commercial buildings with quite a bit of parking lot. Not something that wasn't like super crazy in terms of like the market that Flux made in the previous episode, even though we're going to do something similar later on. Just stay tuned for that. But in here, just putting down a few parking lots and the shops, as well as a big planter in the middle. And for some reason, I kind of wanted the downtown area of Arrowhead Village, which is where we are. By the way, just left to the screen is the train station, just to give you a bit of context. Because I know the time lapse happens so fast that you really can't see anything, but sometimes. But we're in Arrowhead Village, and I just wanted to add a bit more green on the main entrance. In fact, we're going to be making Arrowhead Village a little bit greener overall at the end of this episode. Just stay tuned for the outro cinematics. They're pretty eye candy, just the way I like them. But over here, just putting down a few stripes, sort of canceling the outermost parking spaces that you see there. And together with the planters and all these little bushes, sort of create a nice little atmosphere, a bit of a walkable area / drivable area, if you will. I think it came out pretty good. You'll see it in a moment. And during this episode, we're going to be doing quite a bit, multiple things. And I think we're going to leave it in a good spot for Flux to continue development. Originally I wanted to work on condos, but lately we've been encountering this issue, and we're not the only ones. Apparently, Steam just limited the collections or the items that you can have in collections. So Arrowhead Junction is actually sitting at, I think, 998 items. And apparently, if you create a new collection from scratch, it only allows you to add 1,000 items. Whereas before, I had collections, for example, the Cedar Valley collection of mine was 1,400 assets, but apparently they capped it to 1,000. However, I just said, Arrowhead Junction has 998, but I still am unable to add more things to it for some reason. I don't really know why. So I'm waiting for the Steam support to get back to me on that one. I'll let you know if I do have a fix, but eventually, since we do need a few more custom assets to continue the development of this project, I may have to create a second collection. Obviously, it will be linked from the main one, and we're definitely gonna put links in the description of all of our videos so that you can see them. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that we have to do it that way. And that was one of the reasons why I skipped the whole, condo or slash, residential expansion of the city, simply because I wanted some custom assets and I couldn't have them. So instead, I decided to continue sort of what I was doing during the live stream, which was, a little bit of maintenance. And what you see me do here is we used to have that Home Depot that I put down forever ago, right when we started working on Arrowhead Village. And I originally, imagine like a really big, like a classic suburban Home Depot that has tons of parking lot and, it's just a huge footprint of a building. And the spot that I originally put it in, and I really didn't detail or anything else, I don't think it was great, so I decided to move it right to, towards the entrance of the city, or one of the entrance of the city. And I don't know, I thought it was a great idea, and it looks kind of amazing. It's kind of sitting there alone, nothing around it, and I thought it was like very appropriate for the area. So pretty happy with how that one came out. And there's I have as usual, a list of things that I want to talk about here, and this one has been on my list for a little while, and it's the fact that we recently switched road network textures. So we do get this question all the time. People ask us, hey, how do you get the roads to look dark like that and have the yellow lines and everything else? So there's this mod that we use called Roads United Core Plus. And that's sort of, like the name says, the core mod, but then you need to add themes to it. So we're using right now, and that's the novelty, I guess. In the last couple episodes, we've been using Press's US edition Reworked theme, which it's an adaptation of the North American theme that existed before, but he tweaked it and make it pop a little bit more. So we thought that was very fitting for the look and feel of Arrowhead Junction. He added some rough textures to some of the roads that totally fit the theme that we're going for here. So I highly recommend you check that one out, and hopefully it will fit your cities as well. We're going to include the link, and I say we. I should probably say I am going to include the link in the description so you can download that specific mod. And yeah, like I said, hopefully you like it. Just make sure to go rate him. That way more people can find it in the Steam Workshop. Next up on my list, I want to do a bit of a shameless self-promotion. I checked with Flux. He said it was okay. But for those of you who are only following Arrowhead Junction on my channel and not the rest of my series, I want to tell you that I recently started a brand new solo project called Seenu, which is sort of, follows the same build style that I'm going for here in Arrowhead Junction. It's very detail-oriented, and I'm working on this tropical island. It's in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's a real island, and I'm sort of trying to recreate it to some extent, and also improvising and applying my own touch a little bit. So if you're interested in that, I'm gonna include the link in the description as well, so you can go check it out, and hopefully you can become one of our regular viewers. Yeah, cool. Just want to keep it short and simple. Don't want to spam the whole video. But now we get to sort of the main topic of this episode, which is the recycling plant. Honestly, I don't know what I named the episode yet, because I haven't done any of the thumbnails, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to highlight this one because it's one of my favorite builds from this whole episode, and it totally fits in this big block that we created there. So as you can see, I sort of started with that warehouse that was there before, but and I don't know, it just, since the shape of the block was a little bit odd, it really didn't fit. So, and then I remember that there's a whole modular system for this recycling plant that you should totally check it out in the workshop if you haven't. You can pretty much build anything you want, and obviously this paired with Move It allows you to do whatever you want. I started rotating the buildings and sort of laying down roads in the middle, and I don't know, it really creates a bit of a unique building in and of itself. And you might be wondering, what the hell is that tunnel that goes under? So I'm copying this, not really copying, but I was getting inspiration from a similar plant that exists in Burbank here in Los Angeles. And it appears that they do have a bit of a loading area for trucks that goes under the building. And it literally looks like that. There's a tunnel that curves down under the main facility. And I just had to do it. It's so cool. I don't exactly know how it works, but I just know that it looks amazing. So we had to have it in Arrowhead Junction. In fact, I remember seeing other waste treatment facilities that have almost kind of the opposite of this one. Instead of having a tunnel, they have like a bit of an overpass, similar to like the departures area, or arrivals in an airport, where you have like an elevated road and then the road that goes underneath, something like that. It seems like to be pretty common in some of these plants, so that sort of was even further proof that I needed to build it. And over here, by the way, I'm just switching the location of the power lines that connect to the Lone Steam plant, I think is what we had. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I wanted to sort of make that avenue that goes into the industrial area, you'll see it in a moment, to look a little bit more industrial. And what, I think the most industrial thing that you can do is just have some big power lines, just sitting next to the road. So I kind of ruined the Walmart's aesthetic from the entrance, but I do see that all the time around Southern California, where you have this like shopping mall that just has this ugly ass power lines just sitting in front of it, blocking all of the signs and everything. So I don't know, I just thought it fit perfect. Flox said it was okay, so I'm not sabotaging his designs by any means. In fact, if anything, all of the designs that I'm going to be working on and for the rest of the episodes will be blocked by the power lines. So and here I'm just trying different walls, but what I'm doing basically is some of these avenues I've noticed in suburban areas that they have sound walls that sort of protect or help the houses that are sitting adjacent to that not be as noisy, because they usually expect a lot of traffic through them. And I decided to add a wall in the back of all of those houses. You're going to see me do a bit more detailing in that area in just a moment. But over here, just trying to create a custom sign with Beard Monkey's junkyard signs. Just I put two together and basically collapse or use prop snapping for the most part to position the colossal waste facility management sign against it. I thought it looked kind of nice. I later on sandwiched another one because the Beard Monkey sign kind of was kind of clipping in the back and it didn't look great, so I doubled the white part of the sign, if that makes any sense, to sandwich it. It's definitely a little bit thicker now, but it does work really well. And my only concern is that it's all bright, because I think it's like a texture that's set to be a light source, and that's my only pet peeve with it. But other than that, I think it came out great. And obviously over here on this corner of the facility, we just have a whole lot of materials that could be that are usually left there because it's more valuable than all the other waste that they manage, I guess is what I'm trying to say, or at least that's what I'm guessing from looking at these plants. And I did look at a few of them for when I was doing research for this episode. It seems that they do have a few of these things in common, like a backlot with junk, but I'm pretty sure it's like valuable junk. That's why they keep it. Over here, I'm working on this sort of truck parking / waiting area. And I realized that, those trucks, there's a color variant that actually matches, the dark teal theme for the treatment plant. And I decided to sort of steal B. Squigglehausen's idea. He, in his video, he did one of those star trailers, and he actually used prop snapping to elevate one of the portable offices to the back of the truck. So I decided to do the same in this case, but with the waste recycling containers, and I think it came out great. I was so excited with it. And over here, just adding a few details and bollards in key areas, specifically because I was afraid that car there was gonna get all smushed up if I didn't put a bollard in place. And now that I'm looking at this time lapse, I do realize that so obviously when I record these episodes, I do them in multiple takes and usually multiple days. And every time I reload the game, there's a few settings that you have to set, like prop line tool, for example, and you have to set it to anarchy because by default it's not, or change the LUT because the game forgets the last LUT you used in a map, or or whatever LUT you used last period. But in this case, what I'm noticing is that the road textures are not enabled. I just made this whole comment about how we're using Presence road systems, but right now I'm using vanilla ones, and that's because the Roads United Core Plus just defaults to vanilla every time you open up the game, and you have to switch the theme a couple times for it to work. So it's kind of annoying. This didn't used to happen with the previous Roads United. This is Roads United Core Plus is the second version of this road texture mod that we're using. But it's unfortunate that I don't know if it's technically impossible to get it fixed, but it's it's one of those things that really bugs me. And I mean, talking about bugs, I still have some issues using Find It. As you can see here, all of the search boxes and all that, it's not showing up on the screen. There seems to be a mod conflicting or something like that. I really didn't have time to chat with Samsung about it, but I probably should, because this doesn't happen on other saves of mine. It only happens on Arrowhead, and it also happens to Flux. So it's clearly something with our, something that we have in our collections that's really messing things up. But even without the search box, Find It is amazing. As you can see, I'm literally typing without seeing what's going on, and I just couldn't play the game without Find It anymore. It's so faster. I don't even browse through the menus anymore. It's ridiculous. It's so much easier. Obviously, you need to know what you have installed, and I have a pretty good idea of what that is. But it's much easier. Saves so much time when you're building things. It's really recommended if you don't have it. And just a second ago, you probably saw me do the districts because it was kind of a mess. And I think Flux was having this issue in the previous episode where none of his buildings would, level up. And that is because he didn't set the proper, district for that neighborhood. So it took me a while to figure it out too, because I put down a lot of schools and fire stations and, the death care crematoriums, and I mean, you name it, everything that you can add to boost, land value and all that I did. And even then, nothing was happening until I realized that, the neighborhood wasn't really properly set. We're using building themes to sort of define what types of houses grow. And I think we only have two themes. We have one for Lone and one for Zamora, and Arrowhead Village shares the one with Zamora because, I mean, it's sort of the same type of houses, like the mid-century modern, detached one floor type houses. And why create multiple building themes when you can reuse the same one? I mean, the whole area here, the architecture style of this whole area, it's pretty much the same. So, and over here by the school, I'm doing a bit of a high school / elementary combo. We had a big block that was very fitting for this, so I decided to put two high schools simply because we had a lot of demand for for that type of institution, as well as elementary school. And actually, these two schools can house together 2,000 students, which hopefully should cover pretty much everything around them. And the last thing I'm doing is just trying to cover those ugly vanilla trees with regular trees, I guess, or custom trees. I was trying to get the tree replacer mod to work. It does work on Seenu, but it doesn't work on Arrowhead, and it might be similar to the issue that we're having with Find It. So maybe there's a mod that's preventing that mod and others to work. In fact, I get an error every time I load the save with a tree replacer on. It's really unfortunate because I'm using a tree replacer in Seenu and it's amazing. I got rid of all of the vanilla assets, or at least all of the vanilla trees, and replaced them with some of the bushes that you see on the screen right now, like the shady bush and the ones with flowers. And it is really something else. It really does look really, really nice. And if you can get it to work, oh my god, it will make your whole city look a million times better. The vanilla trees are okay, but in general, they just don't fit most of the things that we do. We're aiming for like really desaturated, more, quote unquote realistic or photorealistic type buildings in a way. And those trees really don't go well with that theme. So hopefully Boformer can fix that soon. I'm going to try contacting him. I know Tim the Terrible, who I speak to quite often, he's friends with him, so I should probably ask him if he wants to. I know he was super busy lately, that's why I didn't want to bother him, but I really hope that that one gets sorted out. And I know there's another mod in the works that I think it's called Prop Replacer or something like that, that would allow you to, well, do just that, replace props at will. And that will also be pretty interesting, especially if it works with vegetation, because that's my biggest thing with this game right now. And over there, I don't know if you noticed, but I made the whole area, just added grass throughout the whole area, just to make this thing, or at least the whole neighborhood, pop a lot more. And it definitely looks much better. Over there, I was just correcting the sidewalks, because obviously when you put down the grass, it gets rid of everything. But I mean, you're going to see it in the cinematics in just a second as we approach the end of this time lapse. But I thought, that extra level of detail came out great. And I'm super happy. I mean, I did a ton of progress on this one. Arrowhead Village is really shaping up, and I couldn't be happier. But unfortunately, there's no real-time build for this episode. I just simply ran out of time this week. But I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving this video a like. That's very much appreciated. And also, if you're new to my channel, there's a big red subscribe button that you can click right next to the notification bell in case you want to be immediately notified after one of my videos comes out. Make sure to tune in next week to Flux's continuation of this project. His channel is also listed in the description of this video. But that's it. That's all that I have to say for now. I want to thank you all for watching and really hope to see you in the next one.